harbor a couple weeks ago, and he gave it to me for free. I went over there to investigate it, and they hired one of the inquisitors and hired me to look into the incident.
Huh, it's quite impressive.
Have as much as you like. I've got a whole crate full of it.
I think I'll take a nice handful with me, thank you.
No, you can have the whole bowl if you like. Just leave my bowl behind. I'm quite partial to that bowl.
All right, well, I guess we'll be on our way.
No, it was very nice to meet all of you. A friend of Byron's is a friend of mine.
I'm glad to hear it.
And Trench himself is not a... He's a slender man, but he's very imposing. He's very tall.
Alright, well, Zito gets up and he starts to make his way towards the door.
Is he taller than Samael?
He is a few inches taller than Samael, yes.
That's impressive.
Okay. Did you guys want to do anything else in Troll Skull Alley before heading back to the manor? Visit any of the other shops?
I'm good personally. I'm just ready to go change into my gear and hide that knife.
I think we're ready to go back to the manor.
Okay. So as you all leave Vincent's, he, as if remembering something, he looks to all of you and he says, "Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to mention about Zord and his ilk. That's something that's come to my attention. Now, of course, I've not met Zord in person, but I have been told that his crew speak with an elvish accent, but they all appear to be human."
That's strange.
Well, it's very strange. Most folk, are proud of their heritage, and they don't pretend to be something they're not.
And he just sort of smiles at that thought, at that comment as he's standing there, sort of looking off in the distance and chewing on his pipe.
Well, if you see Byron, tell him that he owes me a drink.
Just feel free to come by our tavern. You can have one whenever you like.
Well, I might take you up on that. Well, good luck. Try not to get killed.
Thanks. Good advice.
Well, it was nice to meet all of you.
All right, we're on our way back to the tavern.
Okay. So you all make your way after picking up your materials, visiting with Mr. Trench, Linda, and follows the rest of you back to the tavern. And passing through the courtyard now, you no longer see any of the little folk that were there. You just see the standard workers and, of course, Thorvin, who's continuing to bark and point, and he sees the rest of you wandering up. He says, "Hey, I was about to send the crew for lunch. Do you mind if I hang out with you all?"
Yeah, that's
Not at
fine.
all.
Oh, splendid.
And he now reaches behind one of the boxes and produces a large basket and opens the basket. And within the basket, you just see a bag. And he then grips the handle of one side and begins rubbing it, and steam starts rising out of the bag. And when he opens it, you just see all of these what look like biscuits, and they're piping hot. But they're oversized. They're about the size of his fist. And he's like, "You want a meat patty? They're pretty good. A little bit of mutton.
You, little guy. Here, have one of these. And he grabs one of them and throws it to you, Zito.
Zito will try to catch it.
Okay. Now you very deftly grab it out of the air. It's large. It's about half the size of your head in relation to your traveling companions, and it's hot, so you're kind of bouncing it back and forth in your hands, and it's sort of doughy, like it was just baked. So I'm gonna head inside and see if I can't take advantage of some of this ale. And you all head back inside, and after several hours, Byron and Nicholas make their way back to you. And what do all of you do during that time, that downtime?
I'm currently dressed up in my nice clothes.
I just imagine it's like you're waiting to like go to church.
Pretty
You're
much, yeah. But
trying.
he's doing exactly what he normally does, but he's dressed nicely.
Trying not to mess up your outfit.
I am also dressed in my fancy clothes, trying to figure out how this is under my skirt.
Okay. So,
Well, I think Zito's. After a while, Zito's gonna call everyone back up to the meeting on the second floor.
okay.
Hello?
And Byron and Nicholas head into the second floor manor, into the you watch as they enter and sort of slink back into the manor.
Well, we didn't find out too much because apparently one ship's out. The eye.
So not a whole lot to learn, huh?
No, not too much. Most of the crew uses sign language. There's no real patrols. They're just busy unloading and loading most of the time. I don't know how they're able to constantly be doing that.
Did you decide on a point of infiltration?
Not until we see the actual ship. I don't know if it's larger or smaller than these, because these are the main cargo. I don't know the other ships, like a schooner or even a warship.
Well, I guess we'll see it eventually. We'll have to play it by ear once we get there.
Too bad.
Well, speaking of infiltration, I think that everyone who's not sneaking on board this ship should have some sort of cover story. Something that we all can agree on.
We're gonna have to give ourselves fancy names and titles.
Well, I don't think that we need to give ourselves fancy names. We just need a story that'll give us a reason to be on that ship.
We have invitations.
Yes, but why are we going to this other than we have invitations?
I'm going simply because I was invited. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be alcohol there.
Yes, but we need something to keep them busy. I have
Don't
an
worry,
idea.
Zito. I'm gonna use all the big.
Zito, after hearing that, I'm thinking maybe you should come up with an idea.
Yeah, I do have an idea. I think
That's what I like to hear.
this Zorro person. Apparently, the Zord, or his business is around entertainment and launching parades, right? So I think that we go to his dinner party, proposing that we hire him to launch for our tavern's grand opening. What do you guys think?
That's fine by me.
I would say no to that because if something does occur, I don't want them knowing that we own the tavern. Right here looking for.
Or we could wait
Well-
till he asks a question and then stab him and throw him overboard.
I
Well,
like
he
that
already
plan.
knows who we are if we're on the list.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, he doesn't know our names. He doesn't know that we live at the tavern.
Well, don't you think that's going to be one of the first questions that he asks once we get on the ship? Is who are you?
And then
Yeah, I'll tell him my name.
It might the first thing he says to us might be guards arrest them.
If the first thing is "Who are you?" I'm gonna reply with female.
that's not too noblish.
I identify as a dwarf female.
Yes, well, I think that we should be going to this party with the reason. Because we're supposed to be nobles and uh, rich merchants, so we have to come up with something that will give us a reason to come off as rich or noble.
Well, and keep in mind, I'm a paladin, so I might not be right in this. But what if we just go tell them the truth? Hey, one of our friends has a ring on them, and we were told you have something that can get it off. Help us out with it and give me a reason not to slit your throat and throw you overboard. He might say yes.
Well, he'll be more likely to say yes if we get on his good side first.
I'm on the well, I mean, I am a paladin of the Silver Flame. I should already be on his good side. If I'm not, then what does that say about him?
Well, for Zara's sake, I still think that we should be on his good side, regardless of your position. We can't just go around making demands of people.
Well, that's very true, because I'm not going to put Linda at risk if we're going to come up with something like that. Even the note says, from the Inquisitor, that says that we need to disguise ourselves as nobles if you wish to board the vessel safely. So disguise yourselves as nobles, not as an innkeeper that needs to open up a thing that you're not ready.
That's why we're hiring him. It's going to be a big extravaganza. This is going to be a big deal.
I'd rather keep the name of the manor out of it.
Well, then what's your idea?
I have nothing. I'm sneaking in.
To be honest, if the noble's just showing up at the ship, we can have no reason better than that we're bored.
Exactly.
With invitations.
With invitations.
You're there to kiss ass and, grease some palms.
But
Make
if
a
we
deal.
do mention the name of the tavern, he may connect it back to us.
I'd advise using fake names.
Very well. I will call myself Samael the Noble.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, call yourself Siegfried.
No, he's a little bit too well known.
We cannot say anything about the manor either. Fake names and nothing about the manor.
And don't use the fake names in the newspaper. Everybody knows those pretty well, too.
You all
I
hear
shall call
a
myself Rufus.
you all hear
Baron Rufus.
you all hear a knocking noise from the door to the staircase that leads down to the street.
I'll go answer it.
As you open
Just
the door,
knock back.
you see a halfling woman with strawberry blonde hair, and she looks up to you, and she's got an apron wrapped around her waist, and she says, "Oh, I'm begging your pardon, sir. The mistress was wanting to know if you were all going to have lunch downstairs with the dwarf gentleman."
Someone have a lunch reservation?
And Linda looks up and she says, Mistress? Who's that?
Miss Lydia, she said that you might all be hungry from walking around all day throughout the ward.
Yeah, so we'll be down in that moment. We just need to come up to a decision first.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry I bothered you.
And she turns around, she starts walking away down the stairs.
So I propose that we put this all to a vote on what exactly we should be doing.
Come up with a good story, and you're just
Well, that
there
was-
to wine, dine, make contact, like nobles normally do. I think.
Well, see, maybe I can come up with something. Can I think of a kind of a low-end noble house name? Something that like already exists.
How about
Yeah.
we use my idea and say we're nobles from. Then we don't have to worry about being dragon marked.
Well, not all nobles from the 60 are dragon marked. Some of them are. Like every single head of each of the dragon marked houses is a member of the 60. But there are families that are not affiliated with the dragon marked houses.
I was thinking, is there like a member of the 60 that is relatively quiet? Maybe we can play off of their name.
You
Hey,
mean the-
Siegfried just walked in.
y'all turn around.
That's
Y'all
Kira
turn
from-
around and watch as the door opens and a somewhat flustered Siegfried stumbles in. And Siegfried, as you look around the room, you notice that 4 of the individuals seated in the room now are wearing very fine attire. Brunhild is wearing a aquamarine dress that's very frilly and has several layers, petticoats. Linda is also wearing a very nice off burgundy, almost pink color dress, and you can see that both Zito and Samael are wearing fine clothing, and Samael has a cane that is currently resting next to him as he's seated in front of the table.
Well, this is the first time I've seen all of you dressed so nicely. It's about time you don't look like something we dug up from the bottom of a barrel. However, at last, I'm only quickly checking in to let you all know I'm live. I still have a bit of business I must attend, so I must bid you adieu. I just thought I'd, let you know I'm not dead yet.
Oh, that's good to hear.
He nods and then turns back out and just gives another side glance at everyone dressed so fancily and then walks out the door.
And with that, Siegfried is gone.
Yeah, I'm just on a quick 15.
I hope he's not on drugs again. We ate these mushrooms one time and Siegfried was not right for a week.
I still don't think he's all the way right.
That's possible.
Well, I guess, should we rest up and head out when it's time?
Well, the nobles here need to get their story straight on who they are, and then they can wine, dine, and eat hors d'oeuvres.
There is another knock on the door.
I'll go answer it.
As you open the door, Byron, you see a rotund halfling man, and he's got sort of a mop of brown hair, and he's got a wide nose, and his neck, it's almost like he has no chin at all, and he says, "Oh, hello. I just came up to see if you need any cleaning done."
No.
Are you sure? My sister, she said that you came up and checked to make sure that you weren't hungry, and I thought maybe you might need some work done up here.
No, the private quarters are not for you.
Oh, well, I apologize, sir. I will leave you to it then.
Thank you. Click.
I'm Kelso.
And as he he belts out his name, you close the door in his face. Okay, so what would you guys all like to do now? Did you want to rest up for a while until it's time to go to the party? Did you want to continue to try and figure out what your story is?
So you know, we'd like to try and figure out what his story is. I don't know
Yeah,
what
I'm already well
everyone
rested.
else.
I think we're all pretty well rested, so I guess I need to go over it.
Okay. Well, I assume that you all shared all the information that you learned in your respective, both the reconnaissance that Byron and Nicholas did, and of course the information that you're able to obtain from Mr. Trench. And Linda now looks to Byron and says,
So, what's do you have any suggestions at all as to what I should do?
Well, you need to change your name and come up with something good. Have you read about any stories at the college or anything of someone of importance in the past?
There's one story. Gosh, I'm blanking on the last name, but there was a woman named Rose Marie, and she was youngest daughter of one of the families, one of the human families. I believe it was the Growlhund, if I'm not mistaken, the Growlhund family.
And how long ago was this? Was it recently? Has it passed away? What is her deal?
I believe she is no longer living. Maybe. I just remember that the story that I read is that the Grauhund family were bankers, and she was apparently one of the members of the family that didn't get along with her mother and father, and she got away from them and went off to do her own thing, and she traveled around, and last I heard she had traveled to Riada and Salona. That was such a long time ago. I haven't heard anything recently about her.
Do you know about those locations?
About Salona? Oh, of course. I know a lot about Salona.
It sounds like a good cover for you.
That's where the Korai come from.
It's better to use, someone that existed in the past. So the name would be familiar, but not too familiar. And if they're dead, even better.
No, definitely. Especially since she's not been heard or seen from in decades. If that's all right with you, I'll go with that.
Oh, sounds great to me. And if there's trouble, do you have a way to get out quickly?
I mean, I can defend myself if that's what you mean.
Here, she can have this, and Zito will give her the potion of water breathing.
And she takes the green mist, like, liquid, and looks at it and stares at it and says, "Is that a jellyfish?" Oh, I have seen these before. For breathing underwater.
Yes, they are. things get dangerous, jump overboard and swim back to shore.
Okay, I will lead by your example, of course. Byron, you're not coming along with us?
I will be close by, as I always am.
Okay. So it's just us then. It's Zido, Brunheld, and Samael then. It's just us four.
Yes, that's all we have to.
Okay. Well, I will go downstairs and check on my mother and see if she needs anything.
And
I'll go down with you.
Linda gets up from the table, careful not to like dirty her dress, and lifts it up as she heads out the door, stepping down very carefully down the stairs.
I'll go down with her and see who this dwarf is.
Okay. What about the rest of you guys?
I don't know about you guys, but there's a lunch with my name on it.
Drinking.
Yeah, let's head downstairs.
You all head downstairs, and Thorvin is waiting for all of you. He is currently chugging his flagon with a couple of his workers are in the tap room with him, and you can see several, or I should say, you see the 4 halflings milling about. You see 2 female halflings. One of them you noticed from before, the one with the strawberry blonde hair, and another one with short red hair. And they both are wearing aprons and milling about, taking orders now from the gentleman. And you see Lydia, who's behind the bar now, and she yells out to them, says, "Now this is all training for you, Lord. These men, they don't pay for anything. They don't take a dime from them. This is just training for you." Kelso, where's Dasher? Where's he at? And the squat, fat halfling who's currently cleaning up and picking up several flagons of ale, empty flagons from one of the tables where the men are seated with Thorvin. And he says, "Oh, I think he's in the kitchen." "All right, well, can you go get him and tell him that I need him to go down to the cellar?" And Thorvin is has distributed most of the bread. But he turns and he looks to all of you as you head in. He says, "Oh, I didn't think you were coming down. The lunch break is almost over."
I'm sure you have room to feed a few more of us.
Oh. Don't ever let anyone say that Thorvin Twinbeard is not a good host, especially to those who are good hosts to him.
And you watch as he closes up the bag that's inside of the basket. And he grabs the edge of it, of the corner of one side, and he starts rubbing it again in his hand. And steam begins emitting from the bag again. And he opens the bag, and you see that the bag is now completely filled, as it was before when the 4 of you were walking through the courtyard.
And he says, "Grab them while they're hot."
Think I will.
Oh, I'll grab one. Everything grab one.
And they're very hot. They're almost uncomfortably so. For a moment, you kind of have to blow on it before you take a bite out of it. But the smell of the meat that's emanating from it is just this delicious mutton. It's like a spiced mutton. And the dough almost evaporates in your mouth when you take a bite.
I will abstain. I'm currently fasting.
Okay.
"So Byron, going into the tavern business, eh?"
We all are, yes.
"Oh, really? That's funny. You usually are by yourself these days. It's good to see you throwing your hat in with another group of individuals. This boy here got in so much trouble as a youngster with his friends. And of course they all went off and all do different things around the city. And then he became a hero and decided to go off and... What is it you do again? You said something about delivery services.
I'm a courier.
Oh, that's right. The delivering packages and things. Ah. Well, my boys are gonna get back to work here in a minute. Was there anything that you wanted to discuss in regards to that letter that Renair left with you?
We were looking at a couple of things, but we haven't fully decided. We'll let you know by the end of the week.
Oh, that sounds good. We should, by next week, we should be done with the main renovations, and then my crew will clean up and get out of your hair, unless you need anything else done.
We may. We'll be talking about it this evening.
Well, very well. Well, I will leave you to it. Come on, men. Let's get back to work. We got to get all this shit cleaned up. Come on. Now make sure you clean up after yourselves.
And as the gentlemen give up from the table, of all different creeds, you see they're mostly humans. But there is one gentleman who has a very fair skin, and he has pointed ears as if he might be elven in appearance. But he's very thick, and he is wearing a shirt that's open, and you just see that he's just a slab of muscle. And he gets up, he winks at one of the young halfling barmaids who giggles. And as they stand up and they all walk out, mill out into the courtyard. And in a blur of motion, the 4 halflings, the 3 that you've seen already, and then the 4th one, who has black hair, has come out from behind and up the stairs, or I should say the ladder that headed into the cellar beneath the floor behind the tap room bar. And he's come around and he's now wiping down the tables. He says, "Oh, good to meet all of you. I heard that you're the bosses. My name's Dasher. Nice to meet you all. Dasher Snow Beetle. This is my cousins Kelso and Danica, and that's my friend Bryn over there." And he refers to the short redheaded halfling. Oh,
It's nice to meet you all.
Oh, we're quite pleased that the mistress was willing to take all of us on. And she said that something about a trial basis, which is just all fine to us. We're all just looking for work. We hope to impress you as best we can.
Well, I hope you do.
And with that, the 4 of them all continue to do their work around you, just trying to stay out of your way. And Lydia walks up and she says, "I ran the short one, the gnome out of here. There's a shifter, a majorite. Does a few tricks, but for the most part, your short, scaled friend knows more than he does in the long run. And I know that you gave him a writ, if you will, Zito. I believe that was your name, Zito."
I'm sorry, disconnected. What was that?
You signed off on the majorite, the gnome.
Yes, I did.
He was unimpressive.
Well,
Why do you say he was unimpressed?
He just didn't know much. You know, I started grilling him on whether or not he'd done protection before, and he drew a blank. He couldn't tell me if he'd ever did that kind of business before as a bouncer. Plus, who ever heard of a gnome bouncer? Come on.
I kind of agree with you, huh? Sorry, Zito. You know, it was worth a shot.
But these halfling are good, stout folk. They do, you know, that hospitality is their business.
and let's not count Needles out yet. Sure, he's inexperienced, but Wizard ally is can be very powerful when given the proper training.
No, very well. Well, if you want to bring them on in a capacity as I've brought on the halflings, you know, you can reach out to him. He said he was going to hang around this area just in case we changed our minds.
As if you can go and find him for us and bring him here.
Now, what is this What is this business about the lot of you? Why are you all dressed up all fancy? What, Linda? Why are you in a dress? What is going on?
So we're going to a dinner party.
Okay. Why is Linda going? Linda, you're no mercenary.
No, this event is completely formal.
Okay. And she turns around and she looks across to Byron and she says, I have put up with a lot. I've been through a lot. I'm not happy about losing my shop. But I am grateful for this opportunity. Just don't get my daughter killed. And with that, she turns around and she walks off behind the bar around the corner towards the kitchen. And Linda just sort of sheepishly looks over to you, Byron, and just sort of looks down at her hands. And if there is nothing else, we can go ahead and progress forward and say that you are all heading down to the dock wards.
Does everyone see the information I put into the City of Towers chat?
Yeah, I see it.
Stan,
Upgrade.
Zito.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, is that a? Those are a couple of the things that we can add that we have available. We can add two to it. The only reason I'm suggesting that is, well, go ahead.
I've also unlocked that. It is in the notes. Now you can look at the Troll Skull Tavern upgrades.
Okay, because I looked at it before, it was kept showing an error.
Yeah, it should be in
nice.
there. Let me
Yeah,
just
it
make
is.
sure it's there. Yep,
Yeah.
it's there.
Oh, cool. We can discuss the upgrades in a bit later if you want. Unless you want to talk about it now.
So did you guys want to progress forward then?
Yeah, we can progress forward.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when the time has come, your faithful Warforged driver has returned and is by himself. He has not brought Zara back, nor has he brought Siegfried back. And he greets the lot of you as you all head outside, as it's ready for you. And he says,
Well, good evening, my friends. Oh, my, you are looking fine this evening. What is the occasion?
So we're going to a dinner party.
Oh, dinner party. I can take you there if it's here within the city or on the docks somewhere.
Yes, we are going to see Zardos Zord.
Sword. It's familiar. The master of the carnival, Sea Maiden's Fair. Are you going down to the docks then?
Yes, we are.
Okay, very well. I can take you all there if you like.
you have an idea where the Eyecatcher is docked?
Well, the Eyecatcher. As usually, it's docked about a mile off of the harbor.
And how do we get there? Just by boat, or is there anything else that can reach there?
I imagine you can fly there. If you had the ability to fly, you can fly over the water. You could take a boat. You could swim. Of course, it might take you a while if you decided to try and swim over there.
Well, let's have him drop us off at the docks. Or is he done?
Perhaps we can catch a ferry out to the Eyecatcher.
Okay, am I dropping all of you off at the docks, or did you all have different destinations?
Well, you can drop Nick and I off just before the docks, and then drop them off right at the dock.
Oh, very well, I can do that. If you'll all step into the carriage, we'll be on our way.
All right, let's go.
So after a great deal of time has passed, I assume you guys spent several hours preparing up to the time before it. I would say it's about 5 o'clock now. So it's still light out near the docks. And the sky carriage trip is fairly quick. You find yourselves first, Nicholas and Byron dropped off. How far away did you want to drop yourselves off?
5-minute walk.
About a 5-minute walk? Okay. And then the rest of you, Mr. R drops the rest of you not too far away from where both of the Hellraiser and the Heartbreaker are docked. And before where, as you reach the ships, you can see a procession, and most of the dock workers at this time of day are not milling about as much as they were. Both Nicholas and Byron, you see the same crowds from before, but they're a little less now. They're starting to thin down. Like, folk are now going off to their homes. They're going to get something to eat, getting ready to have dinner. And the four of you, Linda, Wrighton, Brunhild, Samael, and Zito, as you exit Mr. R's carriage, he says, "Well, I'll see you all later." And he heads back into the carriage and begins trotting off down the, doesn't take off into the air, but begins trotting down the cobblestone road. And as you begin approaching the ships, you see these two massive ships with 3 masts, 2 sailing ships, both the same size. And there is a gentleman standing at the end of the ship, and he is holding what looks like a stack of papers in his hand, and he's looking at them, and then he is looking off into the distance, and then he's looking back at the papers. And he sees the 4 of you just sort of standing to the side in your fine garments, and he looks and he says, "Oh, hello. Was you, the 4 of you? I wasn't really expecting anyone else. Can I help you?" And
Yes, we have these 4 invitations to Mr. Zord's dinner party tonight. I was wondering if you can take us there.
Oh, of course, I can do that. The dinghy, or longboat, if you will, is just returned, actually, after delivering another guest to Zord's ship, the Eyecatcher. If you'll all follow me to the end of the dock, we will get on the longboat and begin our trek out to the Eyecatcher.
Excellent.
I will not make eye contact, nor will I recognize his existence, but I will follow.
Okay.
Yes, forgive my friend. He is rather He's rather nervous in social situations.
Samael's nose is pointed slightly above the horizon line and stays there.
So, in answer to your question, Mark, no, they were not delivered.
Okay.
And so the four of you are all led to a dark wood, a very dark colored wood, dark wood long ship with a gold and silver filigreed on the edges, painted. And there are already a few sailors in there with their hands on the oars. And the gentleman that greeted all of you says,
Allow me to assist you, young lady. He puts his hand out and takes Linda's hand and leads her into the ship. And then he reaches out to you, Brunhild. Fine lass such as yourself. Allow me to let you onto the ship. Would want you to fall into the water now, hun.
and of course he offers assistance if needed to the rest of you.
I brush his hand out of the way with my cane and step in deftly.
And he does not appear to take any offense to this motion. And he says,
All right, gentlemen, take them to the Eyecatcher. They will bring you back once dinner is over.
and with that, the ship shoves off and begins the long trek over the water, off into the distance as the sun is beginning to crest on the horizon. Back in the edge of the docks, Byron and Nicholas, as you're encroaching and stealthily moving through the crowds, trying to not show any whatsoever, any interest in the ships or any of the dock hands that are moving about. You watch as the long ship begins to depart from the docks proper, passing out off into the distance. And you wonder to yourselves how you will follow behind them. As
Can we check to see which boat that the longboat's going to?
watching the longboat, you can see the longboat is now shrinking as it is moving off into the distance, and almost like a straight shot out. And you watch for several minutes until the longboat is now nothing but a dot.
Question for you.
Yes.
Sending stones. Are they loud? Are they personal? What are they?
The sending rings?
No, the sending stone.
Oh, the sending stone. Yeah, they emit sound from the stone, like a speaker almost.
Is it loud? Is it soft?
Yeah, it's pretty loud. It's loud enough that you could hear within a few feet. Like if you had your, say it was loud outside, say the wind was blowing, the stone itself would emanate a sound that's loud enough to overpower the sound of the wind.
Is that the same for the ring?
Same thing for the ring. The ring will adjust itself accordingly.
What do you mean by just according?
Like if there's a sound that is loud around you, it will adjust itself so that you can hear the sound from the ring.
Oh, and if you're speaking low, it
It'll-
raises the
it-
volume so you can hear it.
It'll lower the volume. If you speak lowly, if you speak silently into it, it will lower the volume. It's an intuitive spell.
All right, I'm gonna whisper into the ring to Sam and say, sometimes at night you may get scared and you may need a light to guide your way.
I didn't actually hear that because I think you whispered it.
Sorry. I said, sometimes at night you may need a light to help guide your way.
Gotcha.
And I whispered that, by the way.
Okay.
Zito, it's so dark out here. I can barely see anything. Get us a light up, please.
Oh, so you're keeping the name Zito?
You haven't told me another name yet.
Oh my goodness.
Have we discussed another name?
I don't think you guys
I'll keep
discussed
it.
any
Nope.
names.
No, looks like we're going with normal names. Zito it is.
Well,
Says,
you could always make up a nice surname to go with it.
I suppose I could.
Good thing he's not publicly known to hang out with us yet.
True, true.
Yeah, his name is not known.
I'll turn to the captain of the ships. Can we lit a torch or something? It's getting really dark out here.
One of the gentlemen that you see, he is standing at the head of the boat. He looks back at you. He says, "Are you afraid of the dark? Sun's not down yet."
Says, no, I myself am rather fond of the dark. I hate when it's bright out. But my friend here is complaining to me, and if you don't want him to start complaining to you, you probably want to lit a torch.
And
He says, "Oh, I can do that."
and he reaches down underneath one of the ledges of the interior of the boat, and you see him pull out an ever-bright lantern, and he pulls it up, and he sets it on a sconce, which is at the edge of the boat, and he hooks it on the end of it. He says, "Will that do?" And the ever-bright lantern immediately, after he rubs the side of it, it lights up.
I will just make a hand gesture at Zito, like that's fine. But I will not speak to the captain.
Very
Can we
well,
see
that'll
this
do.
from shore?
As the sun is starting to go down, you see a brilliant, bright green light lantern, and it's the pinprick of light is bright on the water, but it's starting to get smaller and smaller as it's moving away.
Do you get a general direction of where it is?
Yes, you can see it is getting smaller from where you're currently at. It is getting further and further away. You just judging the distance, it's about 1,000 feet away from you right now, from where you and Nicholas are standing on the docks.
Was there a small fishing
There are
boat or something?
there are tons of boats, large and small, skiffs and otherwise, rafts that are just scattered and tied along the docks.
Oh, why don't we jump in one and just start rowing our way over?
Okay, are you doing this stealthily?
As best we can until we get in the water. I'm sure we're going to be splashing and everything else at the beginning.
Well, I just meant to say that you're hopping off the dock into a ship. Are you trying to slink off into the ship, or are you just?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get down into it.
Okay,
Unnoticed if possible, because we're stealing somebody's boat.
absolutely. I'll need stealth checks from both of you.
We're not doing anything suspicious.
You have a hero point if you'd like to use it.
Not at all.
So, Nicholas, you happen to slide into the boat,
Good.
23.
and Byron, as you started to grab the edge of the dock and lower yourself onto the boat, your hands are slippery on the algae that's on the edges of this gross algae that's growing on the edge of the dock, and you find yourself clunking into the bottom of the boat with a loud, pronounced thunk. And you hear the sound of a clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, and you hear him, "Whoa! You down there!"
Oh, I think I fell off the dock.
Oh,
What? Huh?
are you all right?
Is this Barnaby's?
It is.
Is that Byron?
Oh, huh?
Byron, is that you?
Who is it? I know him.
It's your carriage driver friend.
Oh. Yeah, we're fine. Thanks.
All right. Hey, are you on the job?
Yes, I'm delivering a package.
Oh, I didn't see nothing.
I gotcha.
And
Hey, do you know how to make this thing move faster?
he parks his carriage right in front of where you slipped off the dock. And now he's standing in front of his horse and he's brushing his horse.
Yeah, giving us a little cover. There you go. He might be worth something after.
Is this a
And
rowboat?
It is a rowboat.
Byron's about to deliver a whole box of aspirin.
You had to pick this one. I'm gonna take the oars and.
Oh,
Gotta
we each
get
grab an
going.
oar and we'll start going.
Yeah.
Start heading to the follow that green light.
So as you begin arcing out into away from the docks, the dockward, and furiously rowing with your oars, the sounds of the dock ambience begin to fade. The sounds of the seagulls are still intense, every so often fading in and out. You just hear the sounds of the lapping water. And looking off into the distance, you see that pinprick of light of the lantern getting smaller and smaller, but not going away. You can still see that green light emanating in the distance. And as you are rowing out into the river proper, away from the docks, I need you both to make a perception check. Nicholas, you see a dark shape arc out underneath the water, underneath your boat. A massive shape swimming underneath your boat. And it seems to stop. And this shape begins to get closer and closer to the surface of the water. And as it does, the sight of what you see before you is something that you have not seen before personally, in person. You watch as a scaled head begins rising from the water. You see pronounced nodules of ridges on the nose. You see an elongated reptilian face. And you see the head of a large dragon sticking up out of the water looking at you. And that's where we're going to end the session for tonight.